to our Kansas trip. We are on the road, headed to central Kansas, pretty much is what it is. GPS is saying about 5 hours, so put us down there about 2 o'clock. Be enough time to cruise around the evening and see what we can spot. Maybe we can get something good spotted. Anyway, should be in for a good trip.
Bad boys, what you want? Breaking the law already, huh?
Yeah, got in big trouble already. You said make sure you kill a slammer there in Kansas. So I said, okay, we'll do. We've got orders. It's the law. Man, we're rolling in on the farm right now. I was just telling Devin, areas like this, Iowa, it's so sparsely populated with people. There's more deer than there's people, and there's always big deer in this situation. So I would say probably the non-residents probably kill more big deer than maybe the residents possibly in an area like this. It's just no population at all, which is awesome. It's what I love. It's like being home again. Home on the range. This could be us right here. We better start to look. Just getting the first look at it here. I'm trying to find a vantage where we can sit and glass in the morning and maybe see something go back to bed. But if I was a big buck, I wouldn't bet on these hillsides. There's some bottom ground right here, some tall slough grass. That would be cooler for these deer. So that's where my guess is they would be. We're not going to see anything bad out here. I'm really wanting to spot and stalk pretty bad. Well, we'll go the other direction, go around the block and just kind of see what we've got here. I do have corn. You can see back there I got about 18 acres of corn planted that's on my farm, so at least we do have a food source. Nothing but abandoned opal mines as far as the eye can see, boys. Well, we got in and got all settled in, got some stuff put away. We're just headed back to the farm here. We've already been over here once, kind of drove around and looked it over the best we could, but we're gonna have to get up in there to really see it good. We saw what we could from the road, but so I'm interested to sneak back in there and see what we can see from a hilltop. Just kind of look it over. It'll be obvious to know where they're feeding because we've got corn. It's the only corn right there, so you know that's going to be one food source. So we can key in on that and try and figure out where they're coming from and catch them in between maybe. Looking to see a big buck. You know, I'm not that fired up about actually hunting right now. It's, you know, it's 90 degrees, 92. It's cooling down now. It's 84, but the highs are so hot. You know, I didn't even hunt Loch Ness and this kind of stuff. I don't generally anymore. I don't go hunt when it's 90 degrees. Go sit in a blind and just sweat to death. It's just not worth it for me. I mean, you got to get the meat taken care of right away and all that stuff. So if Iowa youth season wasn't going to be open this coming weekend, I would have came to Kansas when we had the cool down, but we're going to be hunting Iowa. I believe we got a youth hunter who wants to hunt, so that's what we're going to be doing. So we'll do the best we can out here with 90-degree temperatures and all kinds of food, and you never know. You never know what could happen. I know some big deer have gotten killed in worse conditions than this, you know, super hot and windy. But anyway, looking forward to a few days out here. Find a sandbird? That's what they call those. We just have to pick those in Michigan all the time in the yard. You get a bucket and start picking sandbirds. Builds character. At least that's what Dad said. I should have a lot of character by now. The maiden voyage, boys. I like my fancy gate I've got here. Kind of expensive, but hopefully it's worth it. Okay, I see where we need to go. Need to go right down in there. Let's just see if that redneck's over there. Not in a hurry, we're just out here poking around. Season's actually open. Obviously I don't have my bow with me, so you know how that's gonna go. Biggest deer in the area, probably step on my toe or something. Pretty good, just like that. It's not bad corn. We were looking at the forecast and it's going to be 70 when we get in here in the morning, so it's not going to be any too chilly, but you never know. We'll give it a shot. See, this is why a lot of your big bucks go nocturnal this time of year. The season opens, everybody's out doing stuff. Just like me, I'm brushing up against all these weeds right here. We're leaving a heck of a scent trail. Terrible. You know, I would normally, if I had equipment here, I'd have this mowed short so you can just get right in and right out. Very minimal disturbance, minimal scent. But it's what it is. What's that? Oh, that's the infamous cedar tree, up and alive and moving in the wind. You gotta, yeah, he's gotta be at least 3. I would say it's a 3-year-old cedar. Well, if you can believe it, the weatherman was wrong again. It did rain this morning, but it was supposed to rain all the way through till 9:30, 10 o'clock. I feel like we could have just went hunting and been fine this morning. We did see the one nice buck on the farm. I think Devin got just a short clip of him, so that's interesting. I believe that's a mature buck. It's super narrow, but kind of a cool deer. At any rate, we're going to go back to the motel, get what we need to get our work done, go get some scrapes up, get some cameras moved around. It's kind of turning into a work trip versus a hunting trip, but that's okay. I don't mind that. I'm not as fired up early in this kind of heat like I would be if I was, you know, in my 20s still. So the old bulls sometimes just lay around and wait for the rut to hit. They know when the getting's good. Oh boy. One of the things we got to be on the lookout for is if there's any oaks in this piece. I don't know if there is, but they'd be hitting those acorns pretty good if there's some acorns dropping. So we've got to look for that as well. Let's get these cameras moved over scrapes. We're going to try a new experiment here. I haven't found an oak tree yet, so I don't have an oak limb. Mainly what's here is black locust, which is all this stuff. That's hedge there. A lot of hedge and black locust so far. So we're going to try this. No reason they shouldn't hit it. I've seen a lot of scrapes underneath hedge trees. So, and I do my cams kind of like I do hunting. I'm always trying to increase my odds. So I've already went down and scouted this inside corner, which is where I was going to put the redneck blind anyway. But let's go make a scrape there and I'll show you how I'm going to try and capitalize on maybe one more line of movement down there other than just a scrape. All right, I'll give you my thought process on this one. We've got an open gate right here. In these cams, like I said, it's kind of like hunting to me. I try and get the best odds possible to catch a deer moving through. So I've got this open gate I want to catch. I got the cornfield edge here. And so I'm thinking if I put a scrape right here, we can catch movement going back and forth on this gate. Also get the scrape. It's a little bit far to the edge of the corn, but I think it'd still pick it up. So best bang for the buck. I just can't quit. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's set that up and see how we like it. You know, the only bad thing about this, it's faced kind of southwest. I mean, you really don't like south as far as your cameras. You'd rather have them north, but these Cuddybacks do a real good job of not getting false triggers. So let's give it a shot. All right. If I come off from this post and go that direction, kind of southeast, which may be a little better than southwest, for sure in the evenings. I gotta catch that gate gap right there. I feel like that's so important. You know, these cams are big here. I'm running these in Kansas on cell mode, so obviously it's super important. If I know a shooter shows up, it's about a 5-hour drive, so we can come down and hunt if we know there's one down here. If we don't, we could be wasting our time, or at least enjoying the hunt anyway. But so that's why I'm keyed up on getting these cameras on scrapes. We got to know what's here. We are live. 3 rounds out in Kansas. Start them out right. Well, I want to make sure anything that uses this open gate notices that scrape right there, and they will too. They'll see that branch, they get close, they'll see that spot on the dirt. And this won't come out for a week yet, so when I get some pictures, I'll send you what we get for pictures on these scrapes. I would love some scent to start these, because, you know, back home, most all of my scrapes are established or perennial scrapes they use all year, every year. And if I do start a new one, you know, with a rubbing post or even hanging a limb like that, I'll usually put some scent on it just to get them started. And then once they do that, they take it over. You don't need to mess with it. But I will send you guys some pictures and let you know what we get on these. Bingo! Got a couple rubs right here, so I got a little sign. Another one. See a scrape anywhere. All right, this is what I'm thinking, guys. Let's put one camera down here on a scrape. I want to see if we can figure out what's making all this sign here. I would not dismiss that as being a little tiny buck, especially this early in the season, early September. You get stuff like that gets all twisted up and broke up, and so a lot of times that's a big old buck. You know, of course, if you're finding an 8 or 10 inch tree, that more than likely is a big buck, but I wouldn't dismiss this right here. So let's set up on it and see what we find out. Because obviously those are going to break at some point. But for simplicity today, I guess that's all we're going to do on that one. Weed whip this, open up a big scrape, and whatever's doing this right here, we're going to find out. Which direction? That way? Out there? Well, it's about 6:30 in the morning here. I hate to disappoint you guys. We made it out to observe. We're sitting here in this redneck, but it's 75 degrees at 6:30 in the morning, so I didn't even bring my bow. My thought is, you gotta think back to why we're hunting to start with. You know, obviously this all came about for food, you know, and I still shoot deer just to eat, like most guys do, you know, that hunt. And I don't know that you could keep a deer from spoiling in this. It's going to be 95 today and sunny.
I mean, if you shot one, you'd have to be just scurrying to get him taken care of to keep him tasting fresh, so that's why I didn't bring my bow. I'm not going to shoot anything in this weather. As I get older, I'm just not hell-bent. I don't have to shoot a deer to enjoy myself out here, so. But I will be back, and I will feel like I have to shoot one later. Don't get me wrong, I still love to hunt. But we're going to sit in here a couple hours, maybe we'll see a good buck. Oh, yesterday we were talking about those little rubs. They're over here on the edge of that corn. I was like, don't dismiss, that could be a pretty good buck. I think I got pictures of that buck last night. We just got that camera set up there. It was about, we put another camera down from those rubs just a little ways, and we'll show you the picture. So, pretty cool buck. He's got some character. He looks like, who knows what he might hit. He doesn't have any width, but outside of that, it looks like he could be a giant. It's the same buck we saw yesterday morning, which I'm going to say is 3. Of course, I don't have any history with this deer to help me age him, but I was leaning toward he might be 4 or 5, but after the pictures I got last night, I could get some pretty good views of him. I think he's probably a 3-year-old. Actually pretty darn excited about this farm. I was texting Josh a little bit last night about it, and I think with about 3 or 4 weeks of work in here in the off season, I can make this farm cough up some giants if they're here. I mean, I really feel like you could kill them on this farm. It does need some work. I'd like some more diversity, definitely more food diversity. I got corn, that's it, but we want to make it so if they're here in the area, they're on the farm. I think we can do that with this farm. I've noticed this whole area covers at a premium, and this piece right here, I think it was originally like a 240, and it's all pretty much all cover. I mean, this is the cover in the area. That's a pretty good situation, I can tell you that. It is exciting, but we got a lot of work to do. Get back here, work on TSI, work on trails, tree stands, food, getting some diversity. I might even put just a little tillable on this too. There's some decent ridge stops on where those cedars are. I mean, you'd have to soil test and stuff, but I've looked at the soil types already. It'll grow a crop at least as good as this field right here. Should anyway. Well, I think with these temperatures, mid-90s, we are going to skate out of Kansas. We got our work done. We're going to go back to Iowa and get ready for youth season. Devin has got a youth hunter that wants to hunt. So I'm kind of excited about that. I would love nothing more than for that guy to get himself a nice buck. I think he said he was 12 or something. Wasn't he 12, Devin? Your cousin?
12, 13. Something.
Okay, yeah. He's like 12 or 13-year-old young man, so I can remember back to those days how excited I was to go hunt. So hopefully we can do some good for him. And I've looked at the weather for Iowa coming up, and here comes a major cold front compared to what we've got right now. It's like high 80s there today, so it's warm there too. But Saturday night, storm comes in, rain supposedly, and it's a high of 64, so something's gonna die. I love it. But anyway, we'll get packed up, head her on back. We had a fun trip, didn't do really any hunting, but we know what we got here. We got our camera set up on scrape, so if big deer shows up, we should know about it, hopefully. And we'll be back to hunt here. Don't know how many times, but maybe we tag out early in Iowa and come back and hunt a couple weeks here. But anyway, we will see you guys back in Iowa. So long.